Hey there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome. I am sharing the newest club set from the Stamps of Life. This is called Fall Greetings Collection. This is for August 2023. You get an inspiration card, and that has 3 different ideas. There's some little sunflowers, some word dies. There are these little stickers that have different sayings on them that are in banner shapes. And I'm just showing you that it peels off. I was trying to see if they were stickers, and they are. And there's some puffy little elements as well, some puffy stickers. There are some dots and some kind of pearls that are colored. And then there's this beautiful red ribbon. Let me get this open. I'll show it to you. It's got this really cool edge to it. It's like has a little fringe on it, and it's just beautiful. I've never seen a ribbon like that. From Stamps of Life. So it's just really a really cool thing. You can see it's got a center and then the edge is kind of fringed. Very, very pretty. Let me roll that back up. And then there's also the A1 Circle Flip It card die set that is included. This is a smaller version, so A2 is a little bit bigger. A1 is smaller, but you can see that these words that come in the card kit coordinate with that circle die set. And I'll work with that in a minute. You get a folder. You get envelopes, you get cardstock. Let me pull this out, the different colors in here, and then of course you get a patterned paper pad. I'll get to that in just a second. So we've got some twig, I think it's called Gathered Twig, I think is the name of this. There's some grass, which is a beautiful green sky. I think this is sunshine, which is a really bright yellow, and then strawberry, my favorite red. And then here is the paper pad. And there are 2 of each page. So I'm just going to flip through the beginning. This coordinates with the Tailgate2stamp set, which is the club set, and those coordinate together. So if you've got those dies and you get this card kit, you'll be able to cut out all of these fun pieces with it. This kit is definitely geared toward fall, and again, it starts over again. So you get 2 of each page, and so all about fall. But I am going to make one card that is not fall at all. So I want to take a second to talk about the stamp and die set this month. If you got these dies, you'll see that they are a solid image. And so I'm going to just show you a little trick. I've shown you this before if you've watched some of my other videos. Sometimes the dies will be what I call closed, where there is no outer border of it. And so this is a way that I like to stamp when I get a product like this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. You can see that there's a solid leaf and a solid pumpkin in 2 different sizes. I'm going to take this to my stamp positioner, which has a little bit of sticky grid in there. I have mentioned that before, or any kind of sticky product. You could put a little tape underneath to hold them in place, but basically I'm making a template here. And so I'm going to put that last one in there, and then I can line up my stamps. So once you get your stamps lined up where you want them to, you may have to kind of move them around a little bit. Sometimes it takes me maybe 2 times to stamp them so I can get them just exactly where I want them to. And then you can just keep stamping these over and over again. All you have to do is die cut the piece, whatever color it is. You know, if you want to use a different color, you can to make a different color leaf or pumpkin. And then you just can put it into your template. So this is just one way that you can use these stamps and dies that make it pretty quick and easy to create a bunch of them. So I'm going to use brown here so you can really see it. And then I'm going to take my little pokey tool here and pop them out. And there you can see I have pretty good placement of where I want that stamp to be. And again, I'll just keep this in my stamp positioner, and I will stamp this over and over and over again. I did not create this idea. I know I saw it on the internet a million years ago, but I'm just sharing that with you. All right, well, let's jump right into this card kit. So with the kits, I should talk about that for a second while I'm getting these stamps and dies off. That Stamps of Life has a bunch of different clubs that you can join. They have a stamp club, they have a die hard club, which is the stamps and dies together, and then they have the card kit, which is this would be something like this that I'm showing you in this video that I'm featuring. And then they also have a folded kit, which is like a shaped card kit. So I'm going to link everything in the description. I have a bunch of videos of previous months of card kits if you're interested, just to kind of see what they look like. And if you ever have any questions, just leave me a comment and I will do my best to answer it. All right, so I have got all of my paper out that I want to use from my paper pad, and I'm using the layering pieces. This Flip It die has some layering pieces. I'll link a Flip It card video in here as well, so you can learn a little more about them in case this one goes too fast. But I have cut the card base, and you can see it has this cute little circle, and then I have cut my layering pieces. So just like that, I have a card already with just using my pattern paper. These Flip It cards are great for making really quick cards, and they look like you spent a whole lot of time on them, but you really don't. You really don't. It looks great though, and it's a great way to use up your pattern paper. But at Stamps of Life, they have a ton of the Flip It dies, so you can check that out as well if you like a quick and easy card product like this. All right, so I've got that cute paper glued down. There are some layering circles. There's this adorable pumpkin, and there were a bunch of leaves in this, and then the word fun. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a little piece of green to cut for the top of my pumpkin, and then I went ahead off camera and I cut two colors of the pumpkin. So I've got tangerine and marigold. And I am going to paper piece this together. So they're little notches on the top and the bottom. I'm just going to trim that off, and I'm going to glue that back onto the other one. And then I'll save that other piece, and I can use that on a future little pumpkin. And I'm sorry, it's a little bit out of camera, but you can see I am just kind of nipping those little edges. And then I've got these fun little pieces to add back on there. So you can make your pumpkin any color you want to, or you could just leave it solid if you want. You have a lot of options. So I'm going to add the center piece here, and then I'll have just one more. And then I can go back and add my little stem. You can make the stem any color you want to. I've kind of pulled this little center piece apart, trying to get it in place, but it'll still stick to my backing piece, my shadow piece, I should say. So I cut the shadow piece from the twig color paper, which is beautiful. And then I'm going to glue that all onto there after I get my little stem on there. I'm just going to trim the tiniest bit. I can kind of see where that stem should go. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue here, and then kind of use that, my fingernail, to kind of get that into position. And that's all it takes. It's really, really quick and simple. So just a couple of die cuts, a little trimming, and then some gluing. And there it is. So cute. All right, so I took another piece of that pattern paper that is that kind of plaid, but it's in orange. I thought would be a nice little contrast with the blue, but would work well with the orange that I chose. And I'm going to add that to the center of my card, and look how quick and easy that is. You've got a super, super fun card. I did cut out some leaves off camera too. You can see those. I used kiwi cardstock for the base, and then I used grass for the top. All right, I added a little foam there to pop my pumpkin up. I'm going to add one leaf to the back of this, making sure that it still fits when it flips. And then I love these felt sunflowers that have a little gemstone in the middle. It is very, very, very hot where I am, like a lot of the country in the U.S. If you live in the U.S., it is very, very warm. We are in the dog days of summer. It is super, super, super hot. And so I am definitely excited for fall. I cannot wait for a break in the heat, but I'm sure it's probably not going to come for a while. But making cards like this, doing fall-themed projects, I think always cools me down a little bit. Makes me think of those cool, crisp days that may finally come. All right, so I've got my flowers. I just added some liquid glue to the sunflowers. And then I wanted to take a couple of these cute puffy stickers and add them on. These are the leaf little puffy stickers. that I thought worked well with my brown. My last touch is I had a little bit, I've got this little sparkle marker that is close to the end. There's not much left, so I'm just trying to use it up, and I added a little bit of shimmer to that card. All right, that's card number 1. And so I cut out the little card that you see. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the beginning of the video. So on those pre-cut pages, I used the Tailgate dies to cut these out. So the red little trucks that you're going to see, these are all the dies that you can use if you have the Die Hard Club, or you bought those dies separately. You have the ability to cut out from the printed paper these pre-printed pages, which make it so simple to create cards. So on this one, I have added these adorable little cats. There's a birthday cats set that I'm not sure if that's sold out or not. I got it a month or 2 or so ago. But I thought it would be cute to fill my truck full of little kitty cats. We have a kitty cat named Hobbs that my girls just adore. And he is the apple of their eye. And so I thought a birthday card with cats in there would be perfect. And it was a cute way to kind of fill up my truck. So I took that die and cut out the center part so you can see the little kitties. And then I am going to glue them onto my patterned paper. All these cards are A2 sized. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just to give you a reference point. And I'm going to trim off the top of this little party hat that's sticking out just a tiny bit. And then I will glue the rest of that down. So cute. And then I also use those same dies, the Tailgate2stamp, and I'll link everything in the description, to cut the back end of the truck. You can't be sad when you're holding a cupcake. I thought that was a cute, cute sentiment. And then I'm going to add one of these banners across the top, belated birthday wishes. Now I can start adding this to my card panel. Got a little bit more of that brown twig paper, which is really, really pretty. And then I'm going to add this to a marigold card base, which is kind of a muted orange, a darker orange, really, really pretty for fall. And that creates the card base, but I am going to add a little bit to it. I wanted to add, there are some of these little pearls that I thought were cute. And then a couple of these cupcakes, they also come from that little birthday cat set that had 2 paper pads in it that has the cutouts. If you have the dies, which come in the set, you can cut the cupcakes and then the little kitties as well. And I'm going to have a video coming on that set soon. I just haven't been able to get to it. But of course, I'm going to add a couple of more cupcakes because you just can't be sad when you're holding a cupcake. And there's the second card. All right, here's another one of those trucks that I cut out. I stamped hello on the tag of this one. And I'm using the pumpkin pattern paper, which is just so, so cute. And then I'm adding a strip of the twig paper. I've cut a couple of the words fall greetings, and then I had to use some of this gorgeous red ribbon. This is going to be one I'm not going to want to use on many cards because it's so pretty. It's kind of one that you just want to keep. But I have another idea for another card on this, using this gorgeous ribbon that I'm hoping to get to as well. I think you could do some fun stuff with it. It's just a little bit different, something, and it's kind of rustic looking, so very, very good for fall. I'm going to use some dry adhesive here since I've got this ribbon to make sure that it sticks down. My ribbon was a little tiny bit loose, so when I flip it back over, I'm going to tighten it down just a little bit by adding a little bit more adhesive underneath. So I'm trying to just kind of tug it back into place. I didn't quite tie it quite tight enough. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of my dry adhesive here and get that to stick a little bit better. Run that adhesive up so it covers underneath and it won't stick anywhere on my card. So just a little repair there. Every now and then you have to fix some things that don't work quite right in crafting. All right, this one goes onto another marigold card base. Definitely loving that color. And then I've got these beautiful word dies that I think the font is really, really fun and fresh. And I'm going to add my truck directly to my card. I left the window in this one. You can see that white window in there. I left it in there because I'm going to fill it with a greeting. I thought the fall and then the greetings would fit great on the back, on the tailgate. Super, super cute. Loving that. And I cut out, using those dies, some of the gourds and leaves, I should say. I almost said flowers. I think flowers would look really, really good on this card as well. So that is another cute one. And I have to add a little bit of glitter. I had some stickles, and this is Stardust. And I thought I would add a little bit of shine to the tail lights of the truck. So cute. All right. Now this one, I'm going to make a shaped card to add to the front of my card. I'm going to take the outline die. You can see that's what I used to cut out those pre-printed pieces in the paper pad. And I'm going to add this to a piece of cardstock at the fold. And you can see I left a little bit of the edge hanging off, and that will allow me to make have a hinge for a folded card. So you could do just this by itself. If you wanted to create just a card like this, I think this would be a cute little shaped card to send through the mail. You could decorate it. But I'm going to go ahead and add it to a card front. I wanted to use some of the sunflower paper and then another one of those word dies. So I'm just putting the word dies together, the fall, again using that sunshine on the twig paper. And then I have some pumpkins pulled out and some sunflowers. Sunflowers are some of my very, very, very favorite flowers. And I get them all the time when I can at the store. At my local grocery store, they have sunflowers pretty regularly, and they are just so much fun. I'm going to pull out my stamp block here and go a little wild here and stamp without my stamp positioner because I didn't have it handy. I really do use that all the time, and I get a pretty good impression, but I really do use my stamp positioner a lot of the time. But I'm going to add wishing you loads of happiness to the inside. I'm going to let that dry because that ink pad is nice and juicy. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry really well. And then I'm going to work on assembling my card. Again, there's that sunflower paper, and I'm really going to have a hard time using it. It's kind of like that ribbon. I want to keep the sunflower paper too, but I'm determined to use what I get. So hence, here goes the sunflower background. I've got this card now that I'm going to add my truck that I'm going to add to the front of that shaped card because it's nice and dry. So I'm just going to pull that together, and it fits beautifully because it's the same shape. And so I just kind of squeeze it in my hand, make sure the edges are the same. And now I can glue this directly to my card. Okay. And this fits just right on the front. I did stamp Happy Fall and with gingerbread ink and the little the tag, I should say. And then I'm going to add the word fall on top here. And then I will fill up my truck. But I want to add a banner on there. I just really, really liked these banners. I love the font and the shape. So I'm just going to run one across the tailgate. Thought that would be really cute. And then I can add some of my pre-cut pumpkins in the back of my truck. So I went ahead and cut those as well. And the adorable sunflower. So I'm just going to add some glue here. You could pop this up with foam if you wanted more dimension. A lot of times in card videos, I keep it one dimension because I'm going to be mailing them. But a lot of times, if I'm giving something to a recipient that I know it will be in person, I'll add some foam. But a lot of times, these are just one dimensional. But you can always pop that up if you really like the dimension. Okay, I got a little leaf here that I'm going to add on there. A couple of these leaves. And then I'm definitely going to go back and I have to add another little sunflower here. So I'm just trying to fill up my truck with a little bit of fall goodness. So, so cute. And I love pumpkins in the fall. I know I mentioned sunflowers, but I love to have pumpkins too. Okay, so there is that card with the opening on the front. And then I'm going to add one more sunflower inside to really send home the thought of fall. And there it goes. All right. So this card I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm not going to use one of those pre-printed ones. I'm going to stamp the truck from my stamp set, and then I have added some words, and they said, this is a wedding stamp set. It's pretty old, from Stamps of Life, but a really, really good one. And when I saw this truck, I thought it would be cute to maybe make kind of a wedding card. So I masked off the said because it's all one long word, one long sentence, I should say. And so I just masked off the and they, and then I added the said underneath so it would fit in the window of my truck. I'm using some Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. This is the hydrangea blend. I wanted a light kind of purple truck. I thought that would be fun because I'm going to have some gray with the tires and the bumper and all that, and I just thought that would be pretty for a wedding card. So I'm adding the hydrangea. I'm mostly working with the light color. These markers have a light, a mid, and a dark color. I'm only going to use the dark just a little bit because I wanted to keep this truck pretty light. So I'm going to blend back in the light into the medium, or mid, I guess is what it's called. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to leave the little tailgate solid part. I'm going to leave that white for now, and I'll fill that back in a second. And then on this part, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of dark to add just a little bit more detail in there. And then I can work on the sides of my truck, and then we will get to the tires and the bumper in just a second. But these markers are great because they have the 3 markers included, and then you can do all of your blending on there. You know, with alcohol ink, you have to be a little bit patient to let it do its thing. It has to kind of dry and blend into that paper, and so I just tend to go along and kind of let it dry, and if I need to go back, I will, and go back over it. All right, this is the ice gray blend. Again, I'm going to start with this lightest color, and I'm going to go in close to the tailgate, the tag, and then I will blend in some of the mid color, and then I'll finish with the dark. I really like this ice gray. It's a beautiful shade of gray. I will have to pull in a couple of Copic markers for the tires because I didn't have a color dark enough in the Spectrum Noir that I wanted to use for the tires. So I will add some of those in there in just a second. And then I'm just going to pull that light color in there. I left a little bit of white so there's kind of some contrast. And here are those markers I mentioned. I've got C7 and C9. This is another one of my favorite coloring groups out of the grays. I use these all the time. And then I'm just going to do the tire, and then I'm going to come back with the C9, and I'm going to do a little squiggly line that you can kind of see. I'm just kind of roughly going over that, and then I'll just let those kind of blend together. Again, I've got that C7, and then I will add the C9 on top. So cute. Really, really quick and easy to color too. You can spend as much or as little time coloring if you want. And then I'm going to come back and add a little bit of the light to my mirrors. Now I do need to stamp the tag again. I'm using one of those stamps from Tailgate2stamp. I've got Hooray, which I thought was appropriate for this wedding card. Okay, so the I pulled out this, there's a die, I'll link it. I can't remember the exact name. I think it's like typewriter font or something like that. And I cut those letters. I'm going to have I do, but I wanted to stamp the little ring that was included in the set. I thought that would be cute to kind of fill up that space. Now the I am going to use Pixie cardstock, and then I'm also going to add some to the tail lights. So you can see I've added the I do. I went ahead and glued those down. And then I'm going to come back and add my little matching pixie colored tail lights. So cute. I had a lot of fun with this one. Just something different. I really wanted to get that typewriter font or whatever it's called into that tailgate. So I had to think for a minute of if it would fit. And it did. It fits really well. Okay. So I have a piece of white cardstock that I ran through an embossing folder, just that I had in my craft stash. These little stems are from the Winter Wishes set. This is a super old set. I think it was a class set a pretty long time ago. And I used these 2 stems to cut out a bunch of them from this kind of light gray cardstock that I had in my craft stash. And then I'm going to layer these behind my truck. I thought that would be a fun way to kind of tie this whole thing together. So I've added a little bit of foam to the bottom because I want to be able to stick my little branches behind there. And that Warm Winter Wishes, or whatever it's called, I'm pretty sure it's not available. I think it's been retired a long time. I'm not sure if it will come back, but I absolutely love the greenery in this, and I have had it for a long time, and I use it quite often. So if you have yours, this is a great way to use it, I think, and for little bouquets and stuff. All right, so I'm pulling this one out. I'm going to trim that down. I'm just kind of randomly putting them in there. And then I will have to add a few more at the end. I cut, I think, 6, and then I decided I needed a couple more. So I'll have to do those off camera on there. Just adding little dots of liquid glue and sticking it onto that embossed piece of paper. Just kind of fumbling a little bit, trying to get them on there. I'm trying to keep my hands clean too. I don't tend to use a lot of cardstock that's just solid white because I tend to be a very messy crafter. You can tell I am not the neatest Nelly when it comes to my craft room or my house, just being honest. And so I have to kind of watch my fingers, especially when I'm using a cardstock that's all white. I tend to make smudges and pick up little things, so I'm just trying to be careful here. Here are those extra stems that I added into this. And then I'm going to come back and add a little bit more foam because the top part is not secure, so it looks a little funny. So I'm just going to add this on there, and then I'll add one more piece to the other side, and I can finish assembling this card. So I had a lot of fun with this truck set. I have some other ideas that I hope I will have time to get to share with you. I know there's a lot of inspiration over on the website in the gallery there that you can check out too. But I hope you'll find some inspiration with this card kit. If you already received the kit, I hope that you'll want to pull it out and make some cards when you get it. And then after adding that to the pixie, I'm going to layer this onto a white card base. This is that powdered sugar. And that is going to be it for this card. Just again, being careful not to get ink all over. All right. So thanks for hanging with. These are the cards, a recap of the cards I made, the fall greetings with the cute pumpkin paper. I've got the 2 cats who are driving along, sending belated birthday wishes. Here is that awesome A1 Flip It that is included in the card kit. I'll hope to spend some more time with that as well to make some easy, quick cards. Here's this little truck on the front of the card, so you get 2 spaces to write. And then the wedding card, and they said, "I do, hooray." So I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to leave me any questions or comments if you have any concerns. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll leave information in the section about the clubs if you're interested with Stamps of Life. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.